This is Politics Done Right. I'm with the one and only Rashad Robinson. Rashad, how are you doing? The president of Color Purple.
I wish.
Color of Change.
I wish my economics would look a lot different right now. My wallet.
I know.
Yeah. If I was.
Tell me, man, what's new since the last time we spoke?
Well, what's new for Color of Change is we are steadily working to build power towards the 2020 election, and in the process working on a whole set of really key issues. One is a whole lot of work around tech accountability. The technologies that have so much potential to move us into the future also have the potential to move us into the past, into a world where we don't have the same.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Yes.
Explain that.
And so, we've been in an ongoing multiple year-long fight with Facebook that we're starting to see some real traction on. But so many of the algorithms that undergird these systems, right, allow you to market jobs just to white people,
right,
or market housing just to white people, or to send predatory ads to certain communities, black people, people of color. And so not just that, but the ways that their platform was used during the last election cycle, all of the sort of ways in which they've worked with law enforcement over the years without warrants that have meant to target not just black activists, but black people in general. And so really ensuring that there's rules of the road for these huge technology platforms that have such control and such reach over our lives. A lot of people say to me, why don't you just tell people to sign off Facebook if you don't like it?
Right.
But Facebook has 2.3 billion users. That's more followers than Christianity.
But it has become a utility as well.
Exactly. And because it's a utility, you simply can't opt out of it and still engage in so many different industries and so many different spaces. And so if we don't actually have rules for how these platforms engage, we're going back to the days of the 30s and the 20s where, the robber barons and the big corporations were able to collude and create these type of monopolies that controlled our society. We can't go back to that time. And so one of the things we're really doing is working to build the type of power, both inside of government, with shareholders, and holding these companies publicly accountable to really change the rules. And we've been getting a lot of traction. Facebook just came out with their civil rights audit, which was a victory for us. We actually demanded it. They have been doing the audit. They've made a lot of changes in terms of content moderation and algorithms. They've got a lot more work to do, but we're seeing progress, and it wouldn't have happened if everyday people didn't stand up and join us. Another place where we're seeing a lot of traction is in the criminal justice space. And we've been involved in electing over 12 progressive prosecutors around the country,
right.
In cities around the country. Right here in Philadelphia, we were involved with organizations like Reclaim, Media Mobilizing Project, the 215 Coalition, and other folks in an effort to start shifting and changing the rules around prosecutors, who are the most powerful actors in the criminal justice space. And then we've been doing a lot of work with the presidential candidates, pushing them on their issues, challenging them to think about what type of investments in the black community they're going to be making, getting them really clear on their platforms, and also being really clear with them around the role that corporate power is playing and has played in limiting the opportunities for people to prosper.
Now, you along with Color of Change have been very, very effective. The boycotts that you've done have been very successful in the advertising industry. How is it that a company like yours, an organization like yours, have been so effective over the years? I mean, it's not like it's a old standing organization. We've had the NAACP and many other organizations that haven't come not even as close to being as effective as you guys have.
Well, first, you can't hold people accountable to that you're beholden to for money.
Say that again.
You can't hold people accountable that you're beholden to for money,
That applies not only to the NAACP, that applies to the Democratic Party proper.
All of them.
That applies to every single entity that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And for that reason, we need this type of independent media out here.
Yes, and that's why we don't take their money. And we don't take their money, and as a next generation civil rights organization, it allows us, when we get on the phone with Visa, for instance, and say, you need to stop processing fees for white nationalist organizations, and they say, you need to go talk to the banks, it's the banks, and the credit card companies say, go talk, the banks say, go talk to the credit card companies, and they send us back. We're not taking money for either of them. Right. So we're gonna hold them accountable, and we're gonna raise our voices, and we're gonna mobilize our members. And now, we've got all 4 major credit card companies that have now stopped processing fees for about 100 white nationalist organizations. They couldn't write us a check to make us go away, and most importantly, they couldn't threaten to pull away their check for us to go away. And our ability to speak truth to power clearly, and the people we serve is not the major corporations who are serving their shareholders. We're serving black people who are our shareholders.
Rashad Robinson, thank you so kindly for
Always
being
good to
here.
be with you.
It is important work that you're doing. Keep it up and keep being as successful as you are.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.